Good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 211, and I'm continuing the story of the two Viziers from 1001 Arabian Nights. Now you might remember that Badr al-Din had been carried in a chest all the way from Damascus to Cairo. And once he was put down, he was let out. Remember, he had been accused of having cooked a pomegranate seed dish with no pepper in it. And because of that, he deserved to be punished harshly. Shams al-Din brought carpenters to make a cross, never intending to crucify him truly, but to Badr al-Din it seemed all too real. Once the cross was in place, it was too late to crucify him. So he was put back in the chest. And at this point in time, Shams al-Din had the chest and all the rest of the goods that he was carrying on all those camels. He had all of that carried into the city of Cairo to his house. There the camels kneeled and they were unloaded. And all of the goods were taken in, all the tents, all of the equipment was taken in and stored away. Now, Shams al-Din turned to his servants, giving them instructions very clearly, but not before he met with Sit al-Haran, who had been not aware of all that was taking place. He went to her and said, "The Almighty be praised, that you will be united again with your husband, Badr al-Din, this very night." And he explained what had taken place. And he said, "What I want you to do, once we have the room set up exactly as it had been, what I want you to do is go into bed just as you had that evening. And I want you to greet him when he comes in as if he has stayed too long in the privy. Then talk to him through the night, and in the morning we will let him know everything about this great story." So Sit al-Haran began to prepare herself, both physically and mentally, for this task at hand. In the meantime, he had brought out the paper he had so carefully constructed that showed the placement of each and every item on the night of the wedding between Badr al-Din and Sit al-Haran. Each item was placed with care. Now, candles and lanterns had been lit so that everyone could see what they were doing. The chair was put in its place. The netting hung around the bed. His garments were hung on the chair, his turban, his dagger was there, his belt. And of course, beneath the bed, wrapped up in his trousers, was the bag with the gold coins. Once everything was in place, Shams al-Din went out to the chest where Badr al-Din was being kept. He brought him out, and there he unclothed him of everything but his shirt. And taking him by the arm, he walked him through the house to the entrance, to the doorway, to the room where he and Sit al-Haran had consummated their marriage. When Badr al-Din got there, he looked on in amazement. The door was open. He would step forward and then back, not quite believing what he was seeing. Shams al-Din went away, and as he stepped forward into the doorway, Sit al-Haran called out to him, "My husband, come back. Where have you been? You have been out in the privy far too long. Come in, come in." Badr al-Din, he stepped into the room, and he was like, the Almighty be praised. There is no strength or power in anything but God the Almighty, the Magnificent. He looked on Sit al-Haran and he said, yes, indeed, I have been in the privy too long. I must have fallen asleep, but I must tell you that I have dreamt the most long and incredible dream. And then he went over to the chair and he inspected his turban, his garments. He looked at his dagger, his belt. He felt underneath the bed for his trousers and the bag full of gold. And in amazement, he stepped back again. Husband, what is it? What is wrong with you? Sit al-Haran asked. You seem dismayed. Come, join me in bed again. Badr al-Din, he said, oh, my lady, if you only knew the things that I have dreamt. I have dreamt that I spent the last 10, 12 years in Damascus as a cook. Husband, what else did you dream? She said. I dreamt that after we had been together that first night that I woke up in Damascus. I know not how, but I did. It seems nothing more than real to me. And there I had to run through the streets because the people were treating me as if I was crazy. Oh, my husband, such a dream. Yes, you've been in the privy a long time. She said, what else? Oh, he said, then I remember that a slave and a young boy came to my cook shop. I served them beautiful dessert, but then I followed him. I could not help myself. And the young lad, he threw a rock at me, and oh my God, that must have been real because here I have a scar on my forehead. Oh, my husband, how could that be? Yes, how could that be? I'm bewildered. I have no idea what has happened. I'm in great confusion. But then there was more. Then what? Said Sit al-Haran. What more was there? Well, then the boy and the slave, they came back. I served them a dish again. But then men came and they destroyed my entire cook shop, breaking everything to pieces. And I was drugged by my turban. I'd been tied with my turban and I was drugged into an encampment. And there I was accused of having cooked a dish that lacked pepper. For this, I was going to be crucified. I was put in a chest and carried for days, eating but one meal a day. My husband, such a dream. Yes, he felt his forehead again, but I'm afraid it was real. He began laughing. I think it was real. What happened must have been real, he said, and he felt the scar again. How could it not have been? Oh, my husband, I don't know. By this time, Badr al-Din had sat down with Sit al-Haran. They were holding hands. He was sharing all with her, everything that had taken place. He went on to tell that he was about to get crucified. My wife, I was taken out of the chest. Carpenters were there. They nailed a cross together, but fortunately, well, it seemed like last night. It became too late, and they could not continue with crucifying me. And then suddenly I find myself standing in front of this doorway. They chattered on with each other for hours and hours through the night. And all that Badr al-Din could say is, God, The magnificent, the almighty be praised. Sit al-Haran as best she could, continuing on with this made-up story until the dawn began to penetrate through the darkness of the night. The candles had burned themselves low. The scent of incense lingered, but was nowhere as strong as it had been. And the sweet, gentle voices of those two carried through the hallway as Shams al-Din approached to knock upon the door. And we will leave the story there and see what could possibly happen next. Thanks for joining. Have a good rest of your day.